Our first honored guest tonight is Sandra Mortensen. And so I'll introduce Brian Ingeman, principal at Oak Grove Middle School, to say a little about Sandra. Thanks.
Hello, and thank you for letting me be here to present Sandra Mortensen. I'm Brian Ingeman, the principal at Oak Grove Middle School, and I had the pleasure of working on Sandra for the last part of her career. She started at Olson Middle School and worked at Jefferson High School, and I've been very fortunate to be able to work with Sandra. And, you know, being the principal, the counselors are right next to the principal, and I appreciate all the work Sandra's done. She's extremely professional, shows great sympathy and care for all our students. And Sandra has received the highest honor you can in Minnesota, being recognized as the Minnesota Counselor of the Year. That says enough for who Sandra is as a person, as a counselor. She represented Minnesota in the National Counselor presentation on Washington, D.C. She's a tremendous person. She's a great asset to our school. She's left a lasting impression on the counseling department and the students and staff we work with. And we look forward to carrying on the work that Sandra put in place for us at Oak Grove Middle School. She'll be truly missed. She's a great professional, great friend, and all the best, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And many thanks to all the administrators and staff who I've worked with and who have supported me through the years. And one thing that I can say about Brian Ingeman, working for you, Brian, one word I never heard when I had an idea was the word no. You always let me go and grow and make this the career that I always dreamed of. So thank you for that. And I'm just very grateful to have been a counselor in Bloomington Public Schools.
Thank you. Thank you both. All right, the next honored guest that I'd like to introduce is Rebecca Lang, and Brian Ingeman will again be saying a few words about Rebecca.
Becky Lang has been in the Bloomington schools 24 years, and Becky has one of those jobs where she's in multiple schools across the day over the years, various elementary schools, and even maybe the high schools. But Becky's work with our development appropriate students, or DAPE students, in Fayette is just remarkable. She always shows great care and empathy for our students, whether they're on her caseload or part of the class. She's always looking ways to help students feel successful in the athletic realm at school, whether it's at school or after school in the athletic department as well. She's just brought great motivation and inspiration for the students, always brought great care and concern to make sure all of our students, especially the students in our caseload, had a great positive experience when they're working at school. She always helped them find happiness and experience success in the athletic realm, and just always found a way to encourage and make them feel important and make it special for them at school. So thank you, Becky, for your service and all the work you've done in the Bloomington Public Schools over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for your kind words and your support throughout the last 12 years that I've been at Oak Grove Middle School. As Brian said, I have been at numerous schools, and I have enjoyed meeting numerous staff, and the awesome support I have received from the staff and all the buildings that I've been in has been wonderful. And I just thank Bloomington for allowing me the opportunity to do the job that I've loved for the last 24 years.
Thank you, Becky. I wish we had a round of applause. Maybe BEC in the background is doing that for us. Thank you. Thanks truly for all you've done. Right, the next honored guest tonight is Steve Maliki, and I'll have Tim Ruback jump in to provide a little information.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Mitchler. Today, we are honoring Steve Maliki. Steve is a Bloomington Public Schools graduate and resident. Steve has retired with 40 years of service. 40 years. 40 years is 14,600 days, which makes up 10,429 working days, or 83,429 working hours. As you can imagine, Steve has been number one on the custodial seniority list for quite some time. Steve started in our laundry department right out of school. Eventually, Steve transitioned into building custodial, where most recently you could see him at Oak Grove Middle School. Prior to Oak Grove Middle, he worked at Valley View Middle and Kennedy High School, to name a few. Steve has many hobbies. Two of Steve's favorite hobbies are trying out new buffets and attending car races. Steve has a fast car of his own, a black Ford Mustang. In retirement, I am hopeful Steve will have a few buffets and take in a few races with his friend Martin. It is my honor to honor Steve Maliki for his 40 years of service and his much-deserved retirement. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you so very much for everything. I really enjoyed working for the Bloomington schools, and I don't know, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous right now, but I'm not used to being on a computer and all this attention, but I love it. And like I say, I love my job and I miss it, and I miss the joy that it gave me. And I appreciate how nice everyone was to me and all the good things that went on with me and for me. So, and thank you so much for everything, everyone. You know, I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so very much.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm honored to have worked for 40 years here. Very much.
It's incredible, 83,000 hours.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
you're welcome. You're very welcome.
Great. Okay, with that, we'll move to our next honored guest who's here with us tonight, and that is Lynn Larson. And so to introduce Lynn Larson, I'll ask Jason Anderson, principal at Jefferson High School, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm lucky enough to recognize three amazing Jefferson staff members this evening. And since one of our retirees is an English teacher, not Lynn, but I did slip a literary device in all of my comments, so see if you can spot it. Lynn Larson, it is my privilege to introduce you and celebrate legendary Lynn Larson, a magnificent math teacher at Jefferson High School. Lynn is a proud product of the Bloomington School District, as she is a graduate of Bloomington Lincoln High School, class of 1981. She began teaching math at Jefferson High in 1987, and then taught at Kennedy, Olson, and Oak Grove Middle School, and then returned home to Jefferson in 2002. Over the years, she has taught middle school math, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, Calculus, AP Stats, and sharing the joy of math with over 7,000 students. To further emphasize Lynn's contribution to Jefferson, she was recognized by her peers as the JHS Teacher of the Year in 2018. In addition to teaching, she coached for 37 seasons and is a 4-time Section Coach of the Year and 1-time State Coach of the Year. As she reflects on her career, she has enjoyed working with tremendous staff and administration, but she has especially enjoyed working with students every day. Her final hope is that they have been able to see that math is useful in their daily lives. In her retirement, Lynn is looking forward to spending more unstructured time with her family and friends, staying active and volunteering. Thank you, Lynn, for being such a kind and compassionate educator, and enjoy your well-earned time ahead.
Thanks, Jason. I think you just read my speech, so I'll cut it down. I am a proud product of the Bloomington schools. I went to Normandale Hills when it opened in 1969, and then went to Penn and Lincoln. All my schools are closed now, but not Normandale, I guess. But I was able to have my dad as a math teacher at Penn Junior High. And my second year of teaching in the Bloomington schools, I got to teach next door to my dad at Kennedy High School. So I kind of got into the family business, which was kind of fun. As Jason said, I taught at Jefferson, Kennedy, Olson, Oak Grove, worked with amazing teachers along the way, worked with great kids. Came full circle when I got to teach my own sons at Jefferson High School. And I think I've taught 3 or 4 teachers currently at Jefferson as well. So a lot of those teachers I'm teaching with now were my students back at Olson Middle. Typically. Always wanted to make math relevant for students. I hope that I did that. That was always my goal. Bloomington Schools was a great place to work. And I think I've spent 47 years of my life in the fall going to a Bloomington school. So I'm sure I'll be lost in September. But I'm grateful for the time I had to work and learn at such an amazing place. Special thank you to my husband, Pete, who's always been super supportive. And I'm really looking forward to work-free Sunday nights.
Thank you, Lynn. Our next honored guest tonight is Angela Sallow. And Jason, you'll be saying a few words about Angie.
Yes, I will. Awesome Angie Sallow taught for a total of 21 years, with 15 of those years in Bloomington Public Schools. Starting as an ASD teacher at Westwood, she was then an autism specialist for 3 years, worked at BTC as a special education coordinator for 3 years, and then spent her last 2 years at Jefferson High School serving students in our Strive program. One of her favorite things was getting to see students that she had in elementary school become high school students and then transition age students. And she really enjoyed seeing how much they had grown into young adults. Unfortunately for Jefferson and Bloomington Public Schools, Angie has recently moved away from the classroom and is now working with Infinite Campus as a software product analyst in a special education group, but she gets to use her background and expertise in different ways. Reflecting on her time at Jefferson and Bloomington Public Schools, she definitely misses the kids, misses seeing them make connections and reaching their goals. And I can speak on behalf of our students and our staff that we miss you very much, Angie, and we wish you the best. Congratulations, Angie.
Thank you for the very kind words, Jason. I guess I would also just want to give my very sincere thanks to the Bloomington Public Schools for 15 years. I feel privileged. I had 21 years as a teacher and so many students that I will never forget and always will have a soft spot. And I would also want to say, thank you to their families for trusting me with them. Thank you to colleagues who became dear friends. The support over the years is something that I will forever, ever be grateful for. And so I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angie. Our third honored guest, represented by Jefferson High School tonight, is Keith Levinsky. So, Jason.
Thank you. As a longtime engaging English teacher, cool Keith Levinsky is an absolute institution at Jefferson. Many students, staff, and alumni will struggle to even think of a Levinsky-less Jefferson High School. In his 30-year career at Jefferson, he's had so many accomplishments. He coached our academic decathlon team to state championship in 1997, where they then participated in the national competition in Utah. He was instrumental in starting our service learning program called JAG-Corps, which is still thriving to this very day. And going back to that institutional imagery, Keith has been the only advanced placement English 12 teacher at Jefferson High School, and his students have had consistent 80% passing grade, which is notable to note. It's notable to note that the national average is around 50%. In retirement, Keith and his wife planning to move to their lake home in northern Minnesota, and during this well-deserved part of their lives, they will enjoy a variety of outdoor activities, fishing, kayaking, hiking, and more. In addition to these activities, they will visit their children, grandchildren who reside in Massachusetts and Ohio, and in what spare time they may have, they will also travel extensively to see the natural world. Congratulations, Keith, on your successful career, and thank you for making a positive impact on our building and so many lives.
Thank you so much, Jason, for those kind words. I want to thank the Bloomington School District for employing me for these 30 years. I have been truly blessed to be able to teach at Jefferson. The colleagues, the people there, the students, and the family support that is all around Jefferson has just been fantastic. So thank you all.
Excellent. Thank you, Keith. Our next honored guest is from Olson Elementary School, and that guest is Jill Patterson. And Jill, I'm sorry to say, Principal Meyer had something come up as an emergency tonight and wasn't able to be with us. And so I wonder if you wouldn't mind just jumping in and sharing a couple of things with us about your time at Olson Elementary School.
Yes, Paul did call me and I accepted his apologies. It was he did truly need to be gone this evening. But yes, I've truly enjoyed working with Paul and all of the other staff at Olson Elementary for about 20 years now. Couldn't do it without that staff, with the support that they've given me, with all of the students who give you love. I've taught kindergarten most of those years, and you can imagine the love I've received from them. And of course, their parents and others, parents from Olson Elementary that have made that school just an amazing place to work. And have been able to make my career the very best I could have imagined. So thank you to all of them.
And thank you to you, Jill. As I walk around Olson Elementary and I see you working with students, I always see really engaged students. And so I'm glad that you've been a part of our team. Thank you. Congratulations. Our next honored guest tonight is Nancy Hoblett from Kennedy High School. And so I'll ask Akram Osman to jump in and say a few words about Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Akram Osman, the principal at Kennedy High School. This is my first year. What an honor to slow down today and celebrate Nancy Hoblett as a member of Bloomington Public Schools for 50 years. I've gotten to know Nancy this school year. I was the administrator who worked with Nancy. I've really enjoyed many of the conversations Nancy and I had. Nancy started with Bloomington Public Schools in 1970 and has worked in several buildings as a social studies teacher. And at Kennedy High School, she also was the advisor for yearbook, as well as taught several levels of social studies courses. Nancy, really enjoyed getting to know you this school year. Enjoyed our conversations about teaching, about life in general. Really appreciate you welcoming me in to Kennedy High School and supporting me in my first year at Kennedy. You'll be dearly missed, and really well-deserved honor to celebrate you tonight, and as well as others in this call.
Thank you so much for all those kind words, Akram. I have enjoyed working with you this year, and I have enjoyed all of my years in Bloomington schools. I'm a 1966 graduate of Lincoln High School. The first year it was Lincoln High School. I have enjoyed my time at every middle school in Bloomington. I have enjoyed immensely my time at Kennedy High School. And I came to Kennedy in 1982 and have been there ever since. I was a mock trial coach for a number of years. Along with the lawyers that I worked with, we took many teams to state competition and we did very well. More because of the very talented students I had on my teams and the fabulous lawyers who were coaches. They were awesome. I also enjoyed doing the yearbook, which I did for a couple of decades, and I enjoyed it, as well, of course, as teaching my courses and getting to know just a tremendous number of fabulous students at Kennedy. So, and their parents, I might add. Their parents were also wonderful. So thank you so much for all the opportunities I've gotten from Bloomington schools. I've enjoyed it, enjoyed it, enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, we know each other a little from my time at Kennedy too. Yep. Thank you for all your time in Bloomington. It's wonderful. All right, our next honored guest tonight is Diana Baum. And to introduce Diana, I'm going to bring in Michelle Quickstead.
Hi, thank you for the honor to introduce the next three honorees from Early Learning Services. The three staff that I'm going to honor this evening have a combined total teaching experience of over 70 years. And so as somebody who is in their third year in this position in Bloomington schools, I am sad but feel privileged to have gotten to know them and witness the expertise that they bring to our department. So I'll start with introducing Diana Baum. Diana is a contributing member of 37 years of teaching here in Bloomington schools. She's a founding member of our early childhood special education department. When Diana started here, there were only a few staff in ECSE. She's witnessed the evolution of self-contained to inclusion classrooms As a result, she's been providing services to preschoolers in the classroom, community daycares, homes, hallways, playgrounds, you name it. Diana's been there. One of Diana's trademarks is her turtle puppet. She used this puppet for many years to engage children during group time. The kids were absolutely mesmerized by this puppet. There were always big cheers when the turtle would peek out his head and greet them. Diana has had a way of engaging not only students but staff and inspiring everyone to do their very best. So thank you, Diana, for all of your years of experience. You are cherished and will be greatly missed.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for your kind words. And I just have to say, I've just enjoyed my many years in the Bloomington Public Schools and so grateful to be able to have taught for so many years and with so many wonderful colleagues. And like Michelle said, the evolution of our program from being one classroom when I first started back in 1983 at Northgate Elementary, which is now closed, through the many years and just the growth of the program. And it's just been wonderful. I've grown so much from my colleagues, the students I was able to teach and their wonderful families. It was just a joy, and I will miss it. I'll miss those little smiling preschoolers getting off the bus with their backpack, so excited to come to school, or maybe a little scared too. So anyway, wonderful years, and I've missed it. I've been retired now for a little bit. So, but thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you, Bloomington Public Schools, for the wonderful years.
Thank you to you, Diana, as well. The next person that Michelle will be introducing, our next honored guest, is Bonnie Fromsted.
So Bonnie is an instructional assistant and has been with our district for 20 years. She's been in early learning services throughout these years and in many buildings and in many programs. She's dedicated her care and attention to hundreds of preschoolers over the years. I've had a chance to witness Bonnie in the hallway helping a child tie their shoe or provide a hand to walk safely in the hallway. Bonnie was there for students and staff. She's known for her sense of humor. When I talked to her teammates, they were talking about this critical sense of staff morale will be sorely missed by her team. I want to honor Bonnie and thank you for your contribution to not only the staff, the students, but also our community. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for your years of service.
Thank you. That was really nice of you to say. And I have been retired now for a year. I so miss it. I miss the kids. I miss the teachers, the staff, the paras. But it was probably a good time to retire. And hopefully with COVID ending, maybe I will be able to volunteer back in the preschool. I've worked with the older ones before. I love them, but I really, really miss the little preschoolers. So thank you, Bloomington, that I was able to have some years with you.
And thank you too, Bonnie. We would love it if you came back and volunteered. Thanks for all your service. And Michelle, our next honored guest you'll be introducing is Laura Pastrinacki.
Right on cue, my kids decided to get rambunctious outside the door. So this just adds to the early childhood atmosphere as we're talking about another esteemed colleague, Laura Pastrinacki, who dedicated 15 years of service. I know Laura has worked 20 additional years in a previous district. We won't talk about them, but she dedicated 15 years to Bloomington schools. And she is known for her dedication to staff, students, and families, primarily working in our center-based classrooms. But Laura was always really flexible and went to where the students' needs were. And so I could rely on Laura jumping in and giving a helping hand if we needed help in an early childhood family education classroom or a speech classroom. And I appreciated Laura's flexibility. And this was a result of her dedication to students and staff, her details of advocacy as well. Laura was a strong advocate in our district for equity and access for all staff and students. In addition, Laura will be missed for her critical role in supporting staff morale with fun activities and get-togethers. I'll pass around pictures of costumes later. But just want to say thank you, Laura, for your time and your dedication. You'll be greatly missed.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for your support. Yes, I primarily was in early childhood autism classrooms, which I absolutely loved. And the families and the students made my job incredibly rewarding, as well as the early childhood special ed staff, which are an incredible group of people. I learned a great deal from them. I'm very happy that I have friendships that I will still continue with after retirement. And yes, I also was involved with the Peer Advisory Committee that Bloomington Schools has, and was able to facilitate that committee, and felt like we did a lot for paraprofessionals in our district: advocacy, communication, specific needs, professional planning. And it's a great group of staff that are vital to our classrooms, success of our programs, the students, and I hope they will continue to be respected and appreciated, and I will miss advocating for them too. But I feel very honored to have served the families and students in this district for 15 years. It was an incredible honor, and I look forward to spending more time at our cabin up north on an island and doing some traveling, visiting my family in California, including my parents. But I thank you again, Bloomington Schools. It's been a wonderful 15 years. Thank you.
And thank you for your service, Laura. Our next honored guest tonight is Laurie Porter, and to introduce Laurie is Joan Mayland, who's the principal at Valley View Elementary School.
Thanks, Jenna. It's hard to get everything about Laurie Porter in 2 minutes, but I'm going to do my best here. Laurie gave 26 years to Bloomington Public Schools. And so it's my honor tonight to honor a woman whose many talents helped to make Valley View Elementary School the school that it is. While Laurie is associated with Valley View, my first meeting with Laurie was 16 years ago while I was the principal at Indian Mounds. She spent 1 year with us, and during that time, my favorite memories are that one night she turned the kindergarten commons area into a construction paper rainforest. Laurie probably remembers that. And also that she dressed up like Santa's helper and handed out candies to all of the kids. And she also managed to pull off a surprise wedding shower for me in that short time that she was there with us at Indian Mounds. But then she returned back to Valley View, which is really where I think Laurie considered home. And that's where our paths crossed again. And I was lucky enough to run into this amazing woman whose mind is always spinning with some kind of activity to help students. Steve Searle, who's the assistant principal, commented when he knew I was going to talk about Laurie tonight to make sure to say that when something would come up with at work, Laurie would look at the situation and she would say, I know just what to do here. Some of the other teachers had comments to make. Lisa Fest, the 4th grade teacher, said that Laurie always goes that extra mile. That when she would work with reading groups, she would bring in items and projects that would make learning stick. And along those same lines, Tracy Eiton had to say that when Laurie was working with kids doing plays, that she would make sure that she brought in very creative and fun props to make that whole thing come alive for the students, that she thinks outside the box. And incidentally, if I ever stopped into a classroom party and Laurie was there, there was no doubt that I was walking out with either a heart or a flower painted on my face, another Laurie Porter signature. I'd like to wrap it up tonight with some words from Jen Metzger, who's been a kindergarten teacher at Valley View for a long time, because I thought what she had to say about Laurie was so sweet and really so heartfelt. She said, there's not enough words to describe Laurie's many talents and gifts. She was such a blessing to Valley View. She loved the kids and they loved her. She gave her all and best every day. She's caring and thoughtful to staff and students, and I'm thankful to call her my friend and that I was lucky enough to work with her. So I would just like to say to you, Laurie, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement, and thank you for your service to Valley View students and Bloomington schools.
Okay, I was having a little trouble turning my mic on. Joan, thank you. I think you were really to make me cry there. I missed you guys. I missed all of you. It's been quite a run, I tell you. I initially started in the Bloomington schools, and truth be told, the reason I took the job was because I was a single mom raising 2 small children through the Valley View Bloomington schools, and I wanted to have the same hours as my children. So I started off taking the job so I could do that. And gosh, my kids grew up, graduated from different schools in Bloomington, and I stayed and I stayed. And 26 years later, you know, I'm going, oh my gosh, that went so fast. But I felt a tremendous support from the staff. The students were amazing to work with. I was fortunate enough to start in early interventions into reading. I've worked from kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th grade. So I've run the gamut of the grades and have been fortunate enough to do Chapter 1 to Title 1 to Reading Intervention Team to Gifted and Talented. So I've actually had a long... I did try to make it really interesting and fun. I, for one, in my younger years, struggled with reading. And so I knew that if I could grab kids with something that was interesting to them, that maybe they would latch on and learn something. So that was always my hope and goal. And I've appreciated so much all the care. I still keep in touch with different people. And Joan, thank you again for your kind words, and would love to come back and visit Valley View when all of this is over, the COVID. So thank you again.
And thank you, Laurie, for your service in Bloomington Public Schools. Our next honored guest tonight is Mary Lowen, and to introduce Mary is Beth Stenglein, our English Learner Supervisor. Beth?
Hi, I'm Beth Stenglein. I'm the EL Supervisor, and I know that Mary appreciates it when I call her Kit, and so I will. So Kit has worked in the district for 36 years. And she has worked at 10 elementary schools, I think. I double checked. And so she's an elementary teacher. And then 18 years ago, to my good fortune, she became an EL teacher and started working at Indian Mounds. And so I got to work with her both as a teacher when I was still on teacher contract and then as her supervisor. I will say, I've been thinking about this a lot to try and encapsulate who Kit is. I want to do her justice. So I've talked to some people, Joan Malin being one of those people, because she was her principal for such a long time. But Kit's core beliefs and motivation have always been about equity and access for her English learners, for her students. You could see it every time she called to talk to me about how students were being grouped into classrooms and how she was able to serve them and whether they had access to the same programs as everybody else. Joan said, no matter how I felt about what she was asking me, I always knew that that was where Kit was coming from. I also remember, this is something I remembered talking to Joan, and I think Joan said it really well, is that Kit is in this business for kids. That is who she is here for. And especially, I would say, with the K2 age group that she worked with. And I'll be honest, that age group kind of terrifies me. So thank you, Jill Patterson. I've done some subbing this year. I will take middle school anytime. But Kit was my go-to when I needed a good EL example or model of how to work with students in those grades. And I just, one example really stands out for me. I filmed her once. I was going through this time of filming, you know, what best practice looked like. And she was teaching the Billy Goat's Gruff. She was doing a retell with her students of the Billy Goat's Gruff. and she had a xylophone, and she had the character cutouts, and every kid had a job. And the xylophone was a clip clop of the goats crossing the bridge, and she was the gruff voice, and it was magical because she was never afraid to be silly. And I think that's what Joan said too. Like, she was never afraid to be silly, to get the kids where she wanted them to be. And I just so admired that about you, and about the work that you did. You know, I got to sub for Kit this past year, DL, and her kids are wonderful, and her staff was wonderful getting those kids onto the meet so that they could be there. Like, they came through 100%. I think Indian Mounds is a pretty special place. I did an okay job, not great, but okay. But what I really remember is the kids saying to me, "Where is Miss Lowen? We miss Miss Lowen." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I know it's not the same. And I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to try and remember everything I've learned from her." So she was an excellent teammate at Indian Mounds and an excellent teammate to our department. And she is my friend, and I love her. And I really wish you a happy retirement, Kit. And I just want you to know that your kids are better off because of you. And thank you.
Well, Beth, that was everything I was going to say. No, actually, I had no idea it was 36 years until today, and I got this in the mail. So that was a surprise. But being at 10 different schools, I know a lot of these people on the grid tonight because I've been all over the place. Too many maternity leaves was part of that. A couple things stand out besides being able to work for wonderful people like Beth and Jeremy and Joan on this program tonight, is that I had opportunities to be on writing committees, and that just helped me grow as a person, and I was really fortunate to be able to do that. The other thing that was exciting was being on the excuse me, Professional Development Fund Committee. I got to meet middle school teachers and high school teachers like Sandra, and that was fun because elementary can be so inclusive. So that was a real rewarding experience. I'm sorry. Another thing that changed my life completely was given the opportunity of a sabbatical. And that was just, it changed my life. And I had taught in San Antonio, Texas, and really adored working with the Latino community. And I'm sorry, my voice is going today. And so when I came back and taught in the Bloomington schools, I really wanted to go for my ESL licensure, and I got it from the Bloomington schools. And so that's where I landed for the last 18 years and don't regret any of it. It's just been wonderful. And it's going to be hard to leave, but, oh, hey, Jill. I taught Jill's daughter, so it's kind of fun. She's a coworker now. But it's been really rewarding, and I appreciate all the opportunities that I had.
Thank you, Kit. Thank you for your time in Bloomington. Our next honored guest tonight is Theresa Cooper, and to introduce Terry tonight is Jeremy Coons, principal at Indian Mounds Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. Before I do talk about the amazing Terry Cooper, I do want to just give a huge shout out to Kit. Kit, as a principal here in Indian Mounds for the last 2 years, it's been a privilege getting to know you. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that as well. You're a phenomenal person and an amazing teacher. I have the privilege of being able to say a few words about longtime teacher and advocate of the arts, Terry Cooper. I've been lucky to work with Terry over the past 2 years at Indian Mounds. As her principal, I've witnessed Terry unselfishly serving the students and families of Bloomington. I can say without a doubt that every child that Terry has come into contact with is better because of her and all that she's done over her amazing career. To say that Terry has a growth mindset would be an understatement, as she has actively participated in numerous of the BPS cohorts, including STEM, flipped instruction, student-centered, and the design thinking cohort. One of my favorite memories from the past 2 years was that I was asked to be the grand marshal of the interdisciplinary parade that Terry orchestrated while part of the design thinking cohort. Terry had every second grade student construct a balloon out of cardboard boxes similar to the way that those balloons were flown and designed in the Macy's parade. If that wasn't impressive enough, Terry invited the entire school to come watch the students as they paraded their way around the gymnasium. But it doesn't end there. Terry created giant posters to replicate the New York City skyline so that the students could experience a big city parade in full effect. I was so proud of the work that our students did, and it would never have been possible without the hard work and dedication of Terry Cooper. In addition to putting up skyscrapers in our gym, Terry also found the time to serve as Art PLC lead for 6 years, and most recently, she served on the distance learning planning team this year. Terry's dedication to developing a top-notch art program in Bloomington, as well as fine-tuning her personal teaching craft, is truly amazing. Bloomington is going to be losing a gem of a teacher. Another thing that can be said about Terry is that she tirelessly worked to provide her students with the best possible materials and resources over the years. One example is that she wrote numerous grants, including 8 grants totaling over $12,000. I was told that one year Terry used grant money to purchase an easel for every kindergartner. Then she set up the room so the kindergartners could stand at the easel and make art. They all believed that they were artists, and every time they stepped up at that easels, they were very proud of themselves, and it was a true beauty to behold. I wasn't there, but those are words from her former principal, Joan Malin. Another example of how Terry has worked to provide her students with quality art resources happened when renovations were taking place at Indian Mounts. Again, Joan chimed in and said, if it wasn't for Terry, it wouldn't have happened. Terry knew what needed to be done. There needed to be a sink and all other areas within the room adequate enough for her students. It was the right thing to do, and Terry knew it. Terry has a convincing yet respectful way of getting things done that she truly believes in. Everything that Terry does is in the best interest of the students and done so that the students get what they deserve and so that they can experience art. In fact, Terry was the only art teacher in the district who does clay projects with every grade. The students are able to take the precious clay creations home, and there's no doubt that many of them still have their projects as mementos of their elementary years in Indian Mounts. Joan Malin shared with me, and I saw it firsthand the past 2 years, that Terry's art classroom is not about arts and crafts. Instead, only beautiful, sophisticated, developmentally appropriate artwork has ever come out of her room. Terry teaches her students deep knowledge about artists and the reasons that they're creating those projects. I asked Terry to provide me with one highlight or a couple highlights, and I'll share one of those highlights that she had while she was a art specialist in Bloomington Public Schools. Terry shared with me the time that she worked with the district K-5 art specialist to initiate a partnership with the Bloomington Center for the Arts, Artistry Theater, and Visual Arts to create an annual elementary student art show. The event is held at the Bloomington Arts Center during the month of May. 150 of the K-5 student artworks are displayed in Artistry's second floor art gallery. The artists selected, framed, and installed by the 10 Bloomington art specialists. The event begins with 2 evening opening receptions for artists and families held at the Bloomington Art Center. This year, due to COVID, Bloomington Student Art Show was created in a virtual manner, and this was the 16th year. I also asked Terry what she will miss the most, and here's what she said. I'll miss the teachers, staff, my art PLC, students, and most of all, the amazing artwork created by our K-5 artists. And last, I asked Terry what she's looking forward to most in her retirement. She said new adventures. She also said spending time with her kids, Catherine and David, her dog, Romy, and new cat, Noelle, who's their son's rescue cat. She'll be coming all the way from Greece this August. Terry, I want to wish you the best of luck in your retirement. You have certainly put in your share of time, blood, sweat, and tears during your career, and especially this year. You truly deserve a restful and relaxing time to spend with your children and your fur babies. On behalf of all of the staff at Indian Mounds, I want to thank you for all that you've done to make our school and the Bloomington Public Schools such a special place to learn and grow. Take care, Terry. Appreciate all that you've done.
Oh, no wonder I'm so tired. Thank you, Jeremy. I've been busy apparently. And thank you, Joan. All I can say is I just love my job, and I really didn't want to retire, but my kids are making me because they just figure I just need to retire and spend some more time doing something else. But my 4th and 5th graders decided also that I shouldn't, and the reason why is because I don't look old enough, which I thought was really great. Marco's getting a 4. Anyway, I loved my years at Indian Mounds. Absolutely, I did. And this district has provided me with so many opportunities. I've been able to participate in at least 4 or 5 different cohorts that have just, they just do so many amazing things for kids. The staff development committee has always accepted all of my applications to go to all of my many conventions that I'm interested in going to for art, and then I can bring it all back and share it. And but my PLC, like what Jeremy was saying, we decided to do this art show, and we thought, well, we're just not going to do it like, we're going to make it a big deal. So we actually did it. We went to the Bloomington Arts Center and asked if we could do it there, and they said, yeah, okay. And then, so that's been going on for 16 years, and it got to be so exciting for the kids that we would have a reception, like an opening reception for the 10 schools. But then the fire marshal came over and said, you can't do this. You've got too many people here. So we had to do it for 2 nights now. So it's been really something the kids have loved. And I loved, organizing that. And, like Joan was saying, I think that she passed this along to Jeremy also, that we do a lot of clay at Indian Mounds. And every year when the kids come in, they go, what clay project are we doing this year? And it's always, the treasure that their brother or sister has, done. And it's somewhere, in the house. They're displayed all over their houses. But Indian Mounds has an amazing staff to work with. It really, truly is all about the kids. And I was so fortunate for all those years that Joan was at our school. If she weren't a teacher or a principal and teacher, I keep telling her she should just do stand-up comedy, because she is one of the funniest people I know, and just kind of kept us on our toes in a really positive way and supported all of us. I mean, we did the Rashad Jennings readathon, which, she's like, well, I don't know, I got asked to do this. And what do you think? And it turned out to be probably the best experience I've had for kids in all of the, 19 years in Bloomington. So she always knew how to nail it. But anyway, like Kit, she was my next door neighbor at school. Kit and I started the same day teaching at Indian Mounds, and we're going to retire the same day. And like Jeremy said, she's awesome. And Beth, has put in her 2 cents too, but she is just amazing too. So this is all about Indian Mounds tonight, apparently. You probably didn't know that. But anyway, I really loved teaching, and I love all my kids, and I love all the work they've done. And it's going to be really hard to let that go. So thank you for letting me take so long to talk.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been fun. Thanks.
Good. Yep, thank you too. Our next honored guest tonight is Luann Strakota, and to introduce Luann tonight is Robin Bloom.
I am so honored to be able to introduce Luann Strakota tonight. Luann has had the opportunity to work in Bloomington Public Schools for the last 15 years, 4 at Kennedy, 4 at Jefferson, and the last 7 at the Bloomington Transition Center, which I must say was her most exciting of those 7. When asked what her favorite memory over the last 15 years of working in Bloomington, Luann said, "Getting hired, working for Bloomington is the best part of the 15 years." And the excitement that she had on her face when she talked about getting hired was super fun to see. Over the last 2 years, Luann has worked with our team to transform the Bloomington Transition Center to help increase engagement of students who needed support beyond high school. Luann's work this year supported 3 students who had left the district without their diploma in earning their diploma this year. Really nice work, Luann. In talking to those students that you supported, I asked them, if you could say 2 things to Luann, what would you say? And first they said, I can only say 2 things. And I said, okay, you can say more. And they said, I want Luann to know how much I knew she cared about me and how much I appreciate her helping me earn my diploma, because it's the greatest success of my life so far. So Luann, your students, thank you for the work that you've done. You've always been willing to be a contributor to our building and to the students in Bloomington Public Schools. You've been a strong advocate for their needs and always looking at what's next in their life and helping them reach their goals. We look forward to seeing you around campus. We can't give you up that easily. So we look forward to having you sub in Bloomington, specifically at our transition center. And we hope that during retirement that you're able to spend lots of time traveling the world and with those 3 beautiful grandbabies. Thank you, Luann, for your service to Bloomington.
Thank you, Robin. I appreciate all those kind words. It has been quite a journey. You're right. I started out at Kennedy for 4 years, and I met the staff there and loved working there. It was a great place. And then I went to Jefferson, and that was another great place. And I loved the staff and everyone I worked with. It was a great opportunity. And then I came to the Transition Center, and where I've been for the last 7 years. And every year there was something new or a change, and you always kind of just have to go with it, right? So I did, and followed with all the different changes and everything else that went on throughout the years while I was there. I really loved it. I really enjoyed all the people I've met. Without the support from my family, my husband and my boys, supporting me going back to school at 40 to become a teacher and starting teaching at 46. And here I am. I'm retiring and I can't believe it. It's just been, quite a journey, and I will miss the students, but as Robin said, I still plan on coming back. So you're going to probably still see me from time to time. So thanks everyone. It's been a great journey. So thank you.
Thank you too, Luann. Thank you for your service. Our last honoree for tonight is Amber Harlan, and to introduce Amber tonight is Jennifer McIntyre, our Executive Director of Special Education.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchler, and thank you for the honor of being the last to celebrate, because I feel so inspired going into celebrating Amber, but this has been fantastic to hear about so many incredible staff that we have in Bloomington Public Schools and the service that you've put forth for our families, our students, the people who are reflecting on all that you've provided us in Bloomington is amazing. So I feel really inspired and tearing up. So I know I'm going to celebrate Amber now, but I just wanted to share that it's been fantastic to hear about all of you so far. So tonight I do have the honor and the pleasure to celebrate Amber Harlan. Amber has provided services to our students and families as a deaf and hard of hearing teacher for 14 years. She provided support and guidance to our teams across the district in developing programming and education for students who are deaf and hard of hearing, as well as our staff families and individual students' classrooms. So she would go into classrooms to really educate our students about a student who would be entering who is deaf or hard of hearing, or somebody who may have had a sign language interpreter, or somebody who needed some additional assistance. She was always there to advocate for and to make sure that students felt comfortable and really welcomed into the classrooms in which they were receiving services. Amber was also the lead DHH teacher and worked closely with other department leads and our special education administration team. I was able to work really closely with Amber the last couple of years that she worked with us in Bloomington, and it was wonderful to get to know her and actually to get to know quite a bit more about our Department of DHH. She has continued to build and provide programming options for our students who are DHH across our district. When talking with other colleagues, Amber is described as always and forever being a fierce advocate for our students with hearing loss. She established the phrase small but mighty, and that is true. She was true to that, small but mighty, when describing the 3-person DHH department that we had. And each member of the team was proud to work with her as she was the lead teacher. Together, this team established a Deaf and Hard of Hearing Family Night, which gave families across the district the opportunity to create a warm, inviting community for families who have children with hearing loss. Establishing the access to connect and build relationships has been a pivotal part of our DHH program. It was very important for our families to feel connected and for our students to feel connected, particularly our families who had students, but then also parents who had hearing loss. And so for them to be able to be connected into our community as a whole, it was unbelievable what Amber was able to provide for us through these family evenings. If there was ever a problem, we knew that we could call on Amber, and she would be there for you and ready to face any challenge head on. She is a great team player and was always available to listen and problem solve tough situations the DHH or special education teams face throughout any given school year. And she worked with us all the way from our littles in early childhood to our older students in our transition program, similar to what you heard Robin talk about with Luann. One of Amber's colleagues shared with me that as a student teacher early in her career, Amber was the student teacher, and she showed her the beautiful world of deaf and hard of hearing here in Bloomington, and has continued to support her now as a veteran DHH teacher throughout the many years they worked together. Amber was always friendly and welcoming. She taught our small but mighty team how to establish great communication with staff, how to advocate on behalf of our students, and how to turn everything into a learning experience. Most importantly, Amber taught our team how to meet our students where they were at and to always be as supportive as we can be for their needs. Our small but mighty leader was always willing to share mistakes she made, funny stories she had from students, and little jokes the team made along the way. One was shared with me. I don't think I quite understand it. Maybe Amber can explain it to us, but it was, but nope, was the joke. So that was, I think, an inside joke with our small but mighty DHH team. We will miss having her positive, fun-loving self here to joke with. We wish her all the happiness as she continues her journey, and she is currently working in the Prior Lake School District, so she can be close to where her students or her own children are and be involved in the school district in which they attend. Thank you, Amber, for your service to Bloomington Public Schools. It has been an honor to work beside you and with your small but mighty team, and to experience firsthand the positive approach you have with students, families, and staff alike. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's a little inside joke between our small but mighty team, and it will always make me laugh. Thank you very much. Looking at so many people here tonight, I really miss Bloomington so much. So thank you for welcoming me back tonight to be part of this, because Bloomington will always feel like home. I started my career in Bloomington, and there are a few people who are on this call tonight who were there with me when I was just starting out. And so thank you to Bloomington for giving me such a solid start and for helping me grow into the teacher that I am. And I know that it would not be possible without the support that I got from everyone that I worked with in Bloomington. And thank you. I appreciate it so much.
And thank you too, Amber. Thank you for your service. All right, now I'd like to introduce each school board member individually so that they can also take a minute to congratulate the honorees. I'll start with some remarks from Director Olson, who couldn't be with us tonight. Director Olson wanted me to share. She says, I recognize many names and the importance of each on the list and the names being recognized tonight. I wish to be part of the celebration and honoring each of you. However, I'm en route to Washington to visit my daughter for the first time since the pandemic began. I applaud you all and I'm grateful for your contribution to this wonderful school district. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Vice Chair Steigoff to say a few words.
Thank you, Jennifer McIntyre. I guess, I also recognize many faces here, so it's nice to see all of you that I've known over the years that were either involved with my children or with buildings that I was assigned at the time. So just thank you for all of your dedication to our students and our families, and thank you for all of your years of service. And I can't imagine, did you do a total for everybody tonight of all those hours or all those years that would be? Can you imagine? And how many lives you've all touched. So just thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Steigoff. Next, I'd like to welcome Director Bennett to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchler. Yes, this is probably one of my favorite nights of the year. I love the celebration of service. It's an opportunity where we can celebrate the careers of our wonderful employees. I think that one of the most important assets to a school district and making it great is its employees, because you guys are the ones that are out there on the front lines, making the magic happen day in and day out and enriching the lives of students. So when I'm hearing, or seeing employees that have spent 30, 40, 50 years in our district, it just makes me so inspired and so privileged to be part of this great family. So thank you very much for all that you've done for our community for the decades that you've been here, and good luck to whatever endeavors your future holds.
Thanks, Director Bennett. Next, I'd like to invite Director Beebe.
Well, you are all so inspiring. I just really enjoy hearing about the many ways that you have touched lives and the varying capacities that you have worked and being willing to stay on for so many years. So I just really want to thank you for your dedicated and faithful service in our community. And knowing that your longevity has really created a consistency that helps us to do what we desire in our district, which is to really help all of our students reach their potential. And I just heard that kind of a theme through all of these stories, is helping students to get to their potential and in very creative and kind and generous ways. So I thank each of you for your investment at Bloomington Schools and in our community here. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Beebe. Next, I'd like to invite Director Starks.
Hi, yes, thank you. I'm going to echo what many of my fellow board members have already said. This is a really inspiring evening. I absolutely enjoy hearing all of the stories from the supervisors that got to share their perspectives from colleagues, and then your own perspectives. And so thank you again for everything that you've done. I'm honored to be here as a school board member, but I do have to say there are several of you here that I've worked with as a substitute teacher. So thank you for all of your support. You can't be an effective sub without the support of the other people in the building. I see at least one PTA parent on here, plus the folks that have supported the Parent Advisory Council that I was a part of when my kids were little. Several of you either taught or supported my kids as they've gone through. And then I have to say there's one person on here who taught me at Kennedy High School. So Mrs. Hoblett, hi. I can't call you Nancy, that just seems wrong. So when I saw your name on this, I put on Facebook and I was like, Kennedy 94 people, Mrs. Hoblett's retiring. And so there's a huge, I'll have to share it with you somehow. I don't know how I'll get it to you, but a lot of pouring of really awesome words that you had a space to learn independently, but with accountability. You had a classroom of trust, challenging and fun. And so as my econ teacher, my government teacher, my mock trial advisor, and my yearbook advisor, I just have to say thank you. 50 years is incredible and amazing. And so thank you for everything that you've done in the classroom in the square at Kennedy. And thank you to everybody here for everything that you've brought to Bloomington Public Schools.
Thanks, Director Starks. And I'd also like to invite Chair Corman.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchler. I was just thinking about the amount of years, the amount of hours that make, and in all those hours, all the experiences, all the stories that you carry with you, each one of you, having been with our kids and in the classroom, outside of the classroom, the amount of work that you put in the dedication, the love that you pour into the work that you've done. And going through very positive times and challenging times too, because I'm sure there's been times when everything was great, and there's been times where things are a little bit more complicated. So I really thank you for all the love and the appreciation that you show for Bloomington schools, and especially for our kids, for caring for them, for bringing the best of you to them, for all those summers, working through the whole summer, and even the dreams, those dreams. I hope those dreams, the week before school, the dreams that you have, I hope those go away as you retire. But yeah, thanks so much, and really appreciate of you're done. And so, I have nothing else to say, but thank you so much for your service, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Chair Corman. Yeah, 1,331 years total for everyone we're recognizing. So thank you all for your service. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you. Have a good night.